So today we're sitting on the yellow couch at CapeTalk, KFM, and with my ex-accountancy teacher. We haven't seen each other for how long? Plus 30 years. Yeah. Zain Johnson. And I asked him if it's alright if I call him by his first name.
Permission granted.
So we're here to talk to him today about Zain. Who is the Zain after school, after teaching, and after being a young man?
Absolutely.
I know he's still the same.
Yeah. Well, it's a journey, because the thing is that I believe in life. In life, you do what you love. You do what you love with the passion, and you do that as much as you can. And if you basically do that, you'll never work another day in your life, is what the very cliched pun says. But it's actually quite a true pun. So teaching was my life for quite some time. I was in teaching for 20 years. I think I know that I enjoyed every single minute of it. And I look at educators and teachers these days, and I'm sure that they're also enjoying it, but enjoying it in a very different way, because I think it's two different times of history, because it was an apartheid history and an apartheid years that we were in teaching. And in 1992 I started broadcasting, but I was still teaching at the time. I was on the weekend shift, and then I eventually decided that this is what I want to do, broadcasting. I don't have to mark books.
After hours.
I don't have to sit after hours. I don't have to be at school at 5 o'clock in the morning and check all the broken windows. Worry about the kids who are going to come with guns and knives to school, which was the reality at the time. It's still a reality for people in Manenberg. But I think it was the most beautiful years that I had.
Yeah.
I could offer so much. And there were people who said, no, go and teach at this school and that school. It's a posh school, it's a nice school. But what are you going to go and do there? Because you're working with children who are the haves. You want to work with children who are the have-nots. And working in that environment gives you that opportunity to offer so much love, so much compassion, to offer so much of yourself to those children. Basically, give them an opportunity to get an education, which will eventually get them out of where they are. Like I said earlier on, somebody needs to break the mold. Somebody needs to show you something better than what you have at the moment, or better where you are at the moment, in order for you to have something to achieve. So I was in teaching for 20 years. After that I left. In 1992 I was still in teaching. I left teaching in 1998, which was 6 years after I started broadcasting. Worked on the KFM breakfast show for many years, and then of course KFM afternoon drive with Ryan O'Connor, Lee Downs, and those guys, and then eventually went on to CapeTalk, which is basically a talk radio format. It's interviews and dealing with what's happening in the country at the moment.
So tell me something. The shift over to working with kids to working with adults. How was that for you? Did you miss working with the kids? Obviously you did, but how was the transition?
You basically miss working with the kids, but I think you can't stay stagnant in your life. You can't stay in one place in your life. You understand? You find as your life progresses and as your life develops, you'll find that you will find different things. You might want to work in insurance today, and then 3 years later you find you're sick and tired of insurance, and then you'd love to go into the digital world, for instance, and then you find out, oh no, this is not for me. I think it's a lot more volatile these days than what it used to be, because previously people used to stay in a job for 20 years or 30 years and get a good pension, and that's we were groomed to do those kind of things. We're stereotyped into the fact that we need to work, and you need to work here for 20 years or 30 years, and if you're there, then you need to get a good pension, and then you can go on pension and become a traffic cop and get a good pension, or become a teacher and get a good pension. These days, kids work all over the world. Children live all over the world. You understand? People work as nomads. People in South Africa work as English teachers in Thailand, in Cambodia. You know, people, for instance, in other parts of the world work in the digital field, and you don't have to basically be in an office. You know, if you're an online editor, if you're a person who can work on the sort of internet and work in the metaverse, then you don't have to basically be anywhere. You can be anywhere in the world. You're sitting on a beach in Durban and doing work in London, you know. So that has opened up. And I mean, before, where there were certain levels of this is what you need to become. You need to become an accountant, you need to become a teacher, you need to become an engineer, you need to become this. That world has shifted, so there's a whole new world that has opened up. There's a whole new environment of opportunity that has opened up that our young kids can go into. You know what I'm saying? So
And your life now as an artist, I can say.
No, my life. But the thing is that I mean I come in by the door every single day, and I come in because I love being here, because I love what I do, because I know that I have an opportunity to offer people something.
That is the one thing that I always say. In the morning when you wake up and you have to go somewhere, you know, you have to love wanting to be there. If you don't, make that shift, take that step, because you never know what can happen. If you didn't try, you'll never know what could have happened.
Well, the thing is, the bottom line is basically, you know, is that it is about purpose. A lot of it is about purpose. If you have that purpose and you have the fulfillment of that purpose and the passion for that purpose, then you will get up. Because you have a purpose, you've got something to do, you've got something to go and achieve, you have something to offer, you have something to achieve. And I mean, for instance, on Talk Radio, I decided about 6 years ago, I decided to go and start presenting on Talk Radio, because I only do traffic reports, which is, you know, in the morning between 6 and 9, and then the whole day for the rest of the day. But I decided no, I wanted to do presenting, and I started presenting 5-6 years ago. So there's always a turn that you can take in your career path, you know, sort of tweaking your journey. If you love dancing and you want to dance, you understand, but you don't like that kind of dance, or you don't like this kind of genre, you can always tweak and change. Nothing tells you that you need to stay the same.
Absolutely.
You don't need to. The worst kind of person is the person that stays stagnant in his life. You understand? That doesn't have no innovation. You don't learn anything in any specific day. And there's opportunities for you to learn. If you talk to people, you will learn. If you talk to people, you will learn about, well, how do you mix different color paints? Simple. If you walk into a hardware store, there's an opportunity for you to learn. If you want to go travel somewhere, you need to speak to a travel agent. There's an opportunity for you to learn. There's always an opportunity for you to learn and gain new experiences. And that is what life is about. That is what brings you to where you want to be in life. You know?
And I must tell you, I was very attentive in class.
No, you weren't.
I'm going to tell you how I was, that I still remember. I'm 50, I'm almost turning 53 in 2 months' time. And I will never forget those two things you told us. Attitude, wait, let me get the phrase right. Attitude is a state of mind. That is what you always said. Early in the mornings, before we started. Attitude is a state of mind. So it's what we think, why did we come to school, you know, and what we're going to take from that and use it outside. It wasn't just about accountancy for you.
No, it was never.
Yes.
It's never just about the history or the accounting or the maths that you teach. It's about developing a holistic person.
Yes.
That child comes into your care And you need to develop that child as a holistic person, that when that child leaves your classroom, that child 50 years later can still remember exactly what you taught them.
Yes.
And that is the success of life.
Yeah.
You know, that is the success of life, that you can still remember that I told you that, you know, the attitude that you have in life is the key thing. These days, when people employ you, they don't employ you because you got 70 degrees. They don't employ you because you are so highly educated and you're so fantastically educated. These days, the employment environment is about attitude and skills. Are you bringing the right attitude into the business environment? Because that business environment has a culture. It has a particular culture that it deals with,
100%.
and it has a particular sense of its own way of running the business and who comes into that business. You understand? And the skills that you have. I mean, I'm in the broadcasting industry, and basically you just don't sit here and broadcast. There are other things that you can do.
Absolutely.
You understand? There are other skills that you have. So if you are not skilled in 2 or 3 things, like, you know, you don't need to sit and be a cashier for the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's you that need to go and say to the manager, excuse me, can I maybe spend some time in that department? Can I maybe go to this department and go and see what they do there? Is there further training and development? Does this company offer me further training and development? Because the manager is not going to necessarily come to you and say, "Hi, Shane, my child, do you want to develop yourself?" No.
Absolutely.
Get up.
Yes.
Get up, go and ask the manager, is there further training and development? Do you do any kind of skills training? What are the new skills that I can learn in this particular business? And if you have that attitude, you'll develop the skills.
Yes.
And when you have the attitude and the skills and you have that, then you will develop a proper work ethic. And then you'll make yourself indispensable to the company. Whereas if you're a cashier, they can hire 20 cashiers in your place. The day that you decide you don't want to work there anymore. Because hulle betaal my te min. En ek werk te hard hierso. Doesn't happen.
Yeah. And the other thing, the second one, was when I don't know if you remember this, and if you don't, I'm going to be very cross if you don't remember this. It's about the brown shoe polish. Do you remember the question you asked us? That day I was sitting right in front, and normally when I listen to you, when you talk not about accounting, then I scribble in my book, you know, like draw pictures and stuff like that. And then I always used to distract my teacher. Wat maak jy? Then I say, I'm listening. Then I say, I'm listening. Then you said, that was also early in the morning. You always used to get our attention early in the mornings. Then you used to say, you asked us, in fact, you said that you're going to give the person that gives the correct answer, you're going to give us a 2 rand. I think that time it was still a paper, eh?
Yeah, 2 rand was a lot of money.
Yeah, you gave us a 2 rand.
It was half my salary.
Then you said this is the accountancy teacher, eh? He said we must make a sentence of brown, the color brown. And I was like scribbling, and I never used to put up my hand because I knew he wasn't going to ask me. And then no one put up their hands, right? And you said, come, a 2 rand is a lot of money. And I was still scribbling in my book, and I said, I'm browning my shoes. And I got the 2 rand, and I was like, that was for me so much money. And you know who took my money?
Your mother.
Ma. My mom took my money. She said, no, Mr. Johnson can't give you so much money. Why? So I said, because I got the answer right. Yeah, you always want to be right. So those are the 2 things that our teacher did for us. And I think that generation where I was, we are successful in every way, whether you became a mom and as a housewife. That is a major thing. I mean, to raise a child is no joke. You know? And I take my hat off for you. Because you've left something in us that no one can take away.
It's essential for for you, wherever you are, to leave a legacy.
Yeah.
Which is one of the other big things that I believe is that, with KFM, for instance, I was the first person of color to be able to broadcast on the radio station in 1992.
Congratulations,
I was the first person to fly in the helicopter to do traffic reports in CapeTalk, which is another first.
Achievement.
So you pioneer and you achieve things in your life, which basically you strive to those things. You try and be. There's no such thing. If your boss comes to you and says, "Can you do this?" You say, "Yeah, I can do it. No problem." You know you can't do it, but you know you're going to find out from somebody how to do it and how to help you and
100%.
how to groom you to do that particular thing. So never shy away from work. Work is work. You understand? And when you work in an environment, like I said, you must develop skills and things like that. I remember, Mr. Abrams and I sitting around doing a book order, for instance. I knew nothing about a book order, but you sit down and you learn. And that is how we sort of empower each other. And that is the problem with Western society, is the fact that I've got a skill, I'm going to keep it to myself, I'm not going to teach you anything. It's wrong. If I can teach you, and I've taught a number of people to become traffic reporters. I've even taught my own daughter to become a traffic reporter. And if I can teach you to become a traffic reporter, then I've achieved so much more.
Yes, absolutely.
My job is never in danger because I'm teaching you. I'm teaching you so you can go out and fend for yourself, so you can find a job as a traffic reporter somewhere else. Or you can one day take over from me.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, we never empower each other, and we never share knowledge, share information, share skills. That is the thing that we need to do. And if we do that, we'll have a better holistic society.
Absolutely.
And we create a better society. Because now what we're creating is we're creating such disparities between the rich and poor. And the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And like I said, if we encourage each other and bring each other together, because the rich guy can send his child to private school and buy his child an education. The rich guy he's worked hard for where he wants to be, so you can't begrudge him what he has. You need to be happy. I always say, if somebody gets something, get a new car, get a new house, whatever, be happy for that person. Because next time God is dishing out, it will be your turn. So don't always think that, this guy got a new car because he's this and that. No. He worked for it. But the thing is that if you work for it, you break that mold, you eventually get your children a better education. They then for generations further on. Which is exactly what happened during the apartheid years. People worked and they left money. There are people in this country who are still living on ou geld, living on money of their grandparents and their great-grandparents, farms of their parents and great-grandparents, and positions of their parents. My father was the CEO on this particular, my father was on that board of directors, so I'm also on that board of directors. And this is the reality of the situation. But we need to change that for our children.
Absolutely.
And we need to, like I said, all we had to give you guys at that time was education. We couldn't give you anything else. Except R2 maybe. But we couldn't give you anything else. We could only give you education. And we had to excite your mind. And get your mind to think about, because you were in Manenberg. You were in Manenberg, which was an area on the Cape Flats where people were just taken out of District 6, taken out of the white areas and gone and dumped there. They weren't even put there, they were dumped there. And if you look at Manenberg today, virtually very little has changed since then. In fact, as a matter of fact, the gang wars and the whatever has become even worse. And because of the fact that we are looking at these areas as law enforcement, we're looking at this as law enforcement. We need to go in there and with police and set these areas straight. No, we need to look at these areas in terms of social development. We need to go and find out why there is so much teenage pregnancy. We need to find out why there is poverty. We need to find out why there is such a huge abuse of alcohol. I always say, you know what, people in Manenberg, hulle gaan masjid toe. These are God-fearing people. They walk. The kids go to mosque. There's a mosque every Friday. People go to church on a Wednesday. I'm sure with your mom and them, I mean, you guys were very involved in the church.
Sunday to Sunday.
I was very involved in the church and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you basically were involved in the church. You were there, and that was the people of Manenberg. These are God-fearing people who went to church. These are people who went to work every single day. They would walk, they would get a bus, they would go walk to Guguletu station to try and get a train. You understand what I'm saying? And they would work hard for their children. They would come there and cry in front of us in the office because of how hard they need to work to put this child into matric. Because she's the first matriculant in the house. Was such a huge achievement at the time. And it still is for that first child in the family to make matric these days in Manenberg.
And talking about the 2 rand, that was our school fees for the year, right? 2 rand for the year, and some parents could not even afford that.
You were paying like 3 rand or 5 rand for a loaf of bread, so you can understand exactly how much a 2 rand or a 5 rand would have meant for somebody at the time. You understand? It would have been quite a bit for people. But as I said, people walked out of there and went to go and work in factories for something like 25 rand a week or 35 rand a week. I mean, now we're sitting with a minimum salary of that. But you also had the other situation where people lived on government grants. And people lived on old age pensions and stuff like that. And eventually what happened was that, unfortunately, it just got to that particular point whereby, people had to make ends meet. Even up until today, people in Manenberg have got to, they've just got to make ends meet. Because there is not, and if we look at an area like Manenberg and Oval Park and all the other areas, and I'm sure all over the country, we look at areas like that and we just do some social development in those areas, a bit of investment in those areas, not only investment in infrastructure, in roads and stuff like that, but just investment in the people in those areas.
Especially the people,
Invest in the people in those areas. Show the people that you care, you understand? And this is why I'm saying, a lot of people say, oh, Cape Town is the most fantastic country in the world and everything. Yes, it is. It's the most beautiful city in the world. And it's one of the cities that people visit all the time, most of the time. But then you come here as a tourist, so you don't see Manenberg, you don't see Hanover Park, you don't see the killings that's happening on the fields in places like Delft and if you take Blikkiesdorp, for instance, which was supposed to be a temporary place, which has now become a permanent residence. You understand? I was watching life of people in Syria, for instance, in the concentration camps or in the camps in Syria, the refugee camps actually out in Syria, and people say that they've been there for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. So after 10 years in a refugee camp, that becomes your home. It's not a camp anymore, it's your home. It's where you live, it's where you sleep, it's where you eat. You understand? And what do you have? You have nothing. You have nothing. And you need to create something out of nothing. And that's the key in life.
Absolutely.
Is when your back's against the wall. But you've been incredibly successful.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Watching you do dance moves on TikTok. Yes,
yeah.
It's out for TikTok.
But I'm glad you're watching me, and I'm glad you're following me.
I think, you know what, a number of people said to me, well, why do you put your, like Muhammad Noor Solomon's is still on my Facebook page, Salih Ajamanim on my Facebook page. Sakina Ghulam, he married again. She is one of the top salespeople for AMC Classic pots and stuff like that. She's a team leader. She's on people say, why you put your school children on your Facebook page? Maar ek vang mos niks verkeerd aan op Facebook nie. Maybe I can reach them with a message or two. I can put something up, and they can benefit from it. That is what Facebook should be. Facebook should not be a Skinner story, or not be where everybody poses in front of a Porsche because that's not their car. You know what I'm saying?
And I must tell you, I know Mr. Zain Johnson like that
since those years.
Yeah.
And he's still the same. He doesn't, it's not like he throws you away, but if he sees you out there, he's obviously going to reach out to you, even though it's on social media. But I mean, doing it on social media is telling him, all of the guys that used to be school scholars in his class can see that he's still interested in what happens to the people that was in his life.
They children now, they have children in any case. Some of them are even grandparents, like, some of them are grandparents. But the thing is that there's nothing wrong. You can wish them for their birthdays, you can do that kind of thing. It basically shows that you still care and you still reach out.
Yeah.
You still reach out to people who are part of your life. We should never discard people who are part of our lives. People who are, and I feel that this is where people don't talk to each other. We don't visit with each other.
Yeah.
We don't bring about that kind of conversation with people anymore, and social media, whichever form of social media you use, should actually be that. For instance, you have a child out in Cambodia, and if it wasn't for WhatsApp or WhatsApp calling, social media. Or Facebook calling, it'll be difficult for you to reach that child. But now the world is just so small because of social media. And at the end of the day, that's the benefits of what happens within the space of social media, is that you can keep contact with your child. But we don't. Ons gooi nog altyd tussen ouers weg. You know what I'm saying? Ons gooi nog altyd tussen ouers weg. Ons is nog altyd, ons wil nie op Facebook wees met ons ma nie, en ons man hou nie van ons ma nie, of ons vrou hou nie van ons ma nie. So now we still need, you know what I mean? You need to make that peace. And you need to make that peace and that forgiveness and the peace. You don't do that for other people. You
for
don't
yourself.
Make peace. You make peace for yourself. You forgive because of yourself. You don't make peace and forgive because of other people, because you want to make other people feel better. You do it for yourself first, and then from there you move on with those. In any case, nice chat.
Thanks for being you.
The old me and the new me.
It's like we never left.
No, I'm glad. Like I said, obviously Facebook brings up people that you know, and I saw that you guys are doing a lot of work, and you and your daughter and boyfriend doing a lot of work in terms of dancing, and it's fantastic. And please follow them. Please follow them on Facebook, follow them on TikTok, follow them on Instagram. The link is below. Click like and subscribe.
And share.
Make sure and share. And it's important for us to support each other.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for your time, Zain. And
finally she got to say it feels so good to say Zain.
It feels so good.
Please jou vir my te sê met die sê meneer.
Can I have an amazing hug?
Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. This was my first podcast, and there will be many more, and we will definitely come back.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. Even if it's for my funeral, it'll be fun. You can cut that part off.